Subscribe to the channel because today we're about to travel back in time, into the kitchens that kept nations alive during one of the darkest chapters in human history, the kitchens of World War II. When we imagine the Second World War, we often think of soldiers, battlefields, and bombers in the sky. But behind every front line, there was another kind of war, fought not with bullets, but with wooden spoons, ration books, and creativity. It was the war for food. From 1939 to 1945, millions of families across Europe, America, and Asia faced shortages so severe that entire cuisines had to be reinvented. Butter disappeared, sugar was rationed, meat became a luxury, and yet, people found ways to keep the flame of taste alive. This is the story of 25 lost recipes, dishes born from scarcity, resilience, and human ingenuity. 1. The victory loaf. In Britain, bread was more than food. It was survival. The victory loaf was made with whole wheat, oats, potato scraps, and even mashed carrots. It was dense, heavy, but nourishing. Women would bake it while listening to Churchill's speeches on the radio, a quiet act of defiance against hunger. 2. Mock goose. Real goose, impossible to find, so British cooks invented mock goose, made of mashed potatoes layered with apples, onions, and sage, then baked until golden. It had no meat, yet it carried the comforting aroma of Sunday dinner. It was imagination, turned into nourishment. 3rd carrot marmalade sugar was precious, but carrots were everywhere. Cooks discovered that when boiled with a little lemon peel, carrots released natural sweetness. The result? A bright orange jam that became a wartime breakfast staple, and surprisingly delicious. 4. Wartime stew in bomb shelters and mess halls. Woolton pie and wartime stew filled the air with hope. Named after Lord Woolton, Britain's food minister, this stew was made from whatever was available: turnips, parsnips, swedes, leeks. Sometimes with lentils, sometimes with barley, but always with courage. 5. Potato pancakes of the front. On the Eastern Front, where hunger ruled every village, soldiers and civilians made pancakes from grated potatoes, fried on tin pans. No eggs, no flour, just potato, salt, and desperation. They called them Kartoffelpuffer. To eat one was to taste both survival and sorrow. 6. Oat biscuits for the RAF. In the Royal Air Force canteens, women baked oat biscuits for pilots heading into the sky. Each cookie was small, simple, but loaded with energy: oats, syrup, and margarine. They were edible letters from home, carried in flight jackets. 7. Spam hash. In America and the Pacific, Spam was king. Canned, salty, unbreakable. It fed armies and civilians alike. People fried it with potatoes, mixed it with rice, even shaped it into fake roasts. It became the flavor of victory and the memory of home. 8. Coffee substitute. When coffee disappeared from European markets, people got creative. They roasted barley, chicory, even acorns. The bitter, smoky drink kept factory workers awake through endless shifts. It wasn't coffee, but it was courage in a cup. 9. Dandelion soup. Fresh greens were scarce, so people turned to nature. Dandelion leaves, nettles, and wild herbs became life-saving ingredients. Boiled in bone broth or simply salted water, these soups provided vital vitamins, a reminder that nature still offered her gifts, even in war. 10. Corned beef pie. In the Commonwealth nations, corned beef was a lifeline. Mixed with mashed potatoes, onions, and a crust of flour and water, it became a savory pie. The smell of one baking could make even the bleakest ration line feel like home. 11. Wartime porridge oats became the breakfast of empires. Boiled in water, no milk, no sugar, it filled empty stomachs. Some added salt, others stirred in jam from carrots or beets. It was plain, but it meant survival. 12. Cabbage rolls of hope. Across Eastern Europe, cabbage was the last defense against starvation. Families wrapped grains or minced vegetables in cabbage leaves, simmering them slowly. They called it golubtsi or sarma. It was a humble feast for broken times. 13th, surprise turnips were everywhere. Often despised, always eaten. In Germany and Britain, people roasted them with herbs, pretending they were potatoes. Sometimes they added vinegar and sugar to imitate exotic flavors, a dish born from pretending and surviving. 14. Bread pudding. Without eggs. Old bread, water, and a bit of fruit syrup were mixed and baked into pudding. Mothers made it for children who had forgotten the taste of chocolate. It wasn't dessert, it was a story of love under siege. 15. Vegetable scramble. In the ruins of France and Italy, people made scrambles from chopped greens and potatoes fried in oil from sardine cans. The smell filled alleyways, proof that even war couldn't erase the soul of cuisine. 16. Rice balls of the East. In Japan, onigiri became symbols of simplicity. Filled with pickled plum or bits of fish, wrapped in seaweed, they were packed in soldiers' bags, tiny, portable, and full of memory. 17. Barley cakes. Without wheat, barley stepped up. Ground into rough flour and fried with lard, it became the bread of the poor. Hard to chew, but it lasted for days. 18. Beetroot salad. Bright red beets gave color to gray tables. Mixed with vinegar, onion, and oil, they became a symbol of resilience, a splash of red in a world gone cold. 19. Cod liver rations. In Scandinavia, cod liver oil was medicine. Children lined up daily for a spoonful. Thick, oily, unpleasant, but packed with vitamins. It was the taste of health in a sick world. 20. Peanut butter victory bars. In America, peanut butter replaced butter. Mothers mixed it with corn syrup and oats to make chewy bars for their children, a sweet symbol of abundance, even in restriction. 21. Cornmeal mush. In the southern United States, cornmeal mush was a lifeline. Boiled, fried, or baked. It filled bellies when flour ran out. People seasoned it with salt, syrup, or just hope. 22. Potato skins. Broth nothing was wasted. Potato peels were boiled with onion and salt to make a thin broth. The kind soldiers remembered long after the war. It tasted of poverty, but also of perseverance. 23. Ration cake made without eggs or butter. Ration cake used vinegar and baking soda to rise. Cocoa powder gave it color, and mashed prunes gave it sweetness. It was proof that joy could survive even on a ration card. 24. Apple core jelly cooks saved every apple core and peel, boiling them with water and sugar to make jelly. It was translucent, fragrant, and waste-free, the purest example of wartime ingenuity. 25. The Peace Feast. And then in 1945, when the war finally ended, people cooked again, not just to eat, but to celebrate. They made stews rich with meat, cakes filled with cream, and loaves soft with butter. It was the taste of peace and the bittersweet memory of what had been lost. These recipes may seem humble, even strange, to modern eyes, but in them lives the spirit of a generation that refused to surrender. They turned scarcity into flavor, fear into creativity, and hunger into hope. So the next time you cook, remember, every meal has a story, and sometimes the simplest ones are the most powerful. If you like this journey through the kitchens of the past, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Because history is not only told through wars and empires, but also through what people cooked, shared, and survived together.